Hello, welcome to my new series of the Star Trek Adventures solo TTRPG Captain's Log. This will be our session zero. Hopefully, it won't be as long as my last session zero. Um, as you can see, we've moved again. This is my new place. Hopefully, this will be my permanent recording area. Um, so. The question is, what kind of character are we making, and what era are we going to set this in? So let's see where we can go. Fortunately, at the moment, we don't have internet set up, so I'm having to use my phone to do this. I'm using a tool online to make my character. So we're going to start with our character. Um, we have three eras. We have the Enterprise era. That's the less. That's the Enterprise. That's what Star Trek Enterprise. Then we have the original series, and finally we have the Next Generation. You know, Enterprise is not a series that's well looked back on for usually good reason. But I think I've always felt that this is an era that could be explored better. That could be very interesting. So I am actually thinking, I'm going to make this an Enterprise era series. Make it very much based on, the post Earth Romulan war and the foundation of what would become the United Federation of Planets. So, let's go with the Enterprise era. There's not a lot of species available in this era is the only thing. So, I'm not gonna go with human. Humans, like this, like this is like early Starfleet. Um, let's go with Andorian. Like maybe like the first Andorian Starfleet captain. Yeah, I think I can make this work. So this is what the book says an aggressive, passionate people from a frozen moon, founding member of the Federation, blue skinned, pale haired, and in appearance with antennae. Their antennae aid in balance and spatial awareness. Lost antennae can be debilitating until it regrows, which we did actually see in Enterprise. Andorians also have a high metabolism, meaning, among other things, that they tire more quickly than humans. This also makes them more vulnerable to infection from certain types of injury. That could be interesting. It comes with three attributes. It comes with a +1 to 3 attributes: control, daring, and presence. We'll get to what those mean as we progress, but basically, it means that it's what contributes to our roles, depending on what we're trying to do. Environment. In choosing your character's environment, you'll select either a setting or condition. Each offers different storytelling prompts, but both provide the same type of benefits to your character. So we have homeworld, we have busy colony, isolated colony, frontier colony, starship or starbase, or another species' world. I'm gonna go with homeworld. It's simple, but it's effective. Okay. The character comes from the world that birthed their civilization and has been surrounded by cultural and spiritual legacies their entire life. Species homeworlds are often utopian and idyllic, serving as the platonic ideal of that species' culture. They also exemplify aspects of the culture's most revered traditions and serve as the heart of that civilization's legal and political landscape. So, the way this works is that because of this we pick we pick from three attributes: control, daring, and presence. So I'm gonna go with control, um, then disciplines, which will be command, security, or science. Um, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna actually no. Yeah, I'm gonna go with command. I like this idea. Maybe they used to serve in the Andorian military before joining Starfleet. So let's go. Maybe they were a commanding officer. So like they were offered this position to show. Yeah, you know what? That's a good idea. That's a good idea. That they were offered this position to sort of more integrate these new species that are joining this United Federation of Planets into Starfleet. So let's go with command. Value. They have a value. This value should reflect the environments and culture this character was raised within. This is a good opportunity to consider the character's views on their own culture, how they connect or possibly don't connect to the philosophies and traditions of their people. So, failure is not an option. Like, no, I'm gonna keep going. No, that sounds more Vulcan. Spoiling for a fight. Like that seems to fit the Andorian mindset. Let's go with that. Early outlook. Driving them into their education and career, your character formed an early outlook that shaped them in many ways. You may choose from three approaches of how to determine the impact of this outlook. The first is to select their upbringing and determine whether they accepted or rebelled against it. The second, applying to Klingon characters, are those raised in a Klingon household, is to select their caste. This doesn't apply to my character. The last option is simply choose an aspiration that drove your character onto their journey and whether they pursued or gave up on it. Choose the approach that makes the most sense for your character and storytelling style. Let's see. Once the approach is chosen, you may select or randomly determine the specific option within that approach. Interesting. Okay, so um, for this, I'm gonna go with to protect. Like this, uh, our yeah, to protect. Like going against this, going more with this idea of I don't. Well, maybe not. Let's see the upbringings. Um, huh. Let's go with Starfleet's not out. Let's go with diplomacy and politics. Um, and I like the idea of them being more of a warrior, a fighter. So let's go with they kind of rejected that. Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. So I'm gonna add one to my security discipline, and the focus will be their preferred way of applying their skills. Um, no. Uh, let's go with computer security system. Well, no, let's not. Let's go with strategy. Strategy is simple, but let's go with strategy. Right. Okay. So next up is education type. Some characters will have received their education at Starfleet Academy. Others may have received theirs on streets of a busy commercial colony, traveling among the stars or within the societal structure of another civilization. This is early Federation, so I'm going to go with Allied military. Given, as I said, they served in the Andorian military. Allied military training. You have chosen to commit your life to your government's military. You have undergone necessary training to prepare for your military role, whether the formal education training or much more informal guerrilla training. Interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna go with officer training. That makes sense. You spent years of study to become an officer in your nation's military. This encompassed both training in leadership and command, but also combat skills, technical and scientific studies, and a variety of other disciplines. Most military officers in the Alpha and Beta quadrants have a breadth and depth of training akin to that of a Starfleet officer, though generally with more focus on military applications rather than exploration. So I'm going to put some points in control, insight, insights, and and daring. And then my primary discipline will be command, secondary disciplines, and security, and con. So, okay, so focuses. So let's go with lead by example. That's actually a good one. Lead by example. Uh, Team dynamics. And coordinated efforts. Finally, value. Um, Unity is strength. I like that, especially in the wake of the founding of the United Federation of Planets. I like the idea of unity is strength as a value. Um, so I'm gonna say experienced as a career length. They are experienced. They've been around for a while. Maybe they even did some service back um during the brief conflict between Andoria and Vulcan, uh, before eventually joining Starfleet. So they have a value from their several years of experience. Uh, a life without risk is no life at all. Actually, I kind of like that one. um, Okay, so this should be interesting. Career event. Your character's career is a tapestry of events and experiences, but a few will have been pivotal moments in the character's life. The character defines which moments of their life are important in retrospect, and what seemed definitive to a young ensign may be inconsequential to the same officer decades later. Your character has two defining career events chosen or determined randomly from the list below and gains whatever benefits they provide. For characters that chose novice career length, assume that these career events took place during the character's time at the Academy or equivalent, perhaps during a field training assignment aboard a starship, which, yeah, their experience. Um, Interesting. Um, let's see here. I'm going to say mentored for one. A highly respected officer took notice of the character's career. For a time, the character served as the officer's pilot and aide, gaining the benefit of the officer's experiences and lessons. Who is the officer? Does the officer remain a contact or even friend of the character? So, a notable member of the Andorian military. So let's go with control. I already went with con for that. So a focus is going to be um, tracking. Actually, I like that idea. Tracking. Let's make that an idea. Maybe they taught them how to hunt or to search for things. Yeah, I can work with that. Okay, so our second career event. Um, hmm. Oh, let's go with. Sorry, there's a lot of options here. Let's go with. Hmm, let's go with let's go with betrayed, called out a superior. Maybe something. Maybe it's actually what got them out of the Andorian military. Like it did something like that caused that like something happened that caused them to be like, hey, what the heck? What the heck is going on? So focus. So this gives me +1 in reason and +1 in con. Uh, and a focus. So let's go with glancing impact as a focus. Okay, so I get two. I get for my finishing touches. I'm gonna go with +1 in fitness. This will give. So it's not bad. And +1 in daring. For my discipline, I'm gonna go with command, and I'm gonna put 1 in engineering. Value. Uh, uh, wow. Hope is a powerful weapon. Actually, I kind of like that one. Yeah, let's go with that as a value. Right. So, what's left is it's their name and pronouns. I am gonna go with she, her. She, where's the slash? Her. And for name, let's go with, uh, let's go with Shinra. I like Shinra as a name. And she is the commanding officer of the ship. Um, we will need uh, to come up with. Oh, and rank. She is Captain Shinra of whatever the ship will be, which we will decide the ship details next. So, yes. Uh, we have most of our have our character. So reminder: her name is Shinra. She is a Starfleet captain. That is former Andorian military. Um, and we will decide what her ship is in just a moment. Right. So our ship. That's the important question. There is, of course, like there's the NX class, but I kind of like the idea of using the Daedalus class. This uh, sort of small, a little bit of a different design, but it's uh, we can use it like this is exploration. Going out and maybe one of the early Daedalus classes. Uh, we'll start with that. The question is going to be name. What do we? So let's select a Daedalus class. Let's think about talents. I'm gonna go with. So how many? I can get 3 talents. I'm gonna go with the advanced sensor sweeps, suites, not sweeps. This is very early, so like still fairly. Uh, this is before replicators, so deluxe galley would be like the chef. That's an interesting thought, actually. I don't know. Let's go with extensive shuttle bays. Maybe uh, extensive shuttle bays. And I can pick one more. Yeah, picking these things are always the hard part. Um, some of the stuff for Enterprise era is way too early for. Ah, um, I'm gonna go with the rugged. Where is it? I passed it. I'm gonna go with the rugged design. So we have three options. We have selected three. I've selected three options. They are advanced sensor suites. The vessel sensors are amongst the most sophisticated and advanced available in the fleet. Unless the ship's sensors have suffered one or more breaches, whenever a character performs a task assisted by the ship's sensors, they may reduce the difficulty of the task by one to a minimum of zero. Simple but effective. Um, uh, like this is still early Starfleet, so maybe the Vulcans contributed a bit. Extensive shuttle bays. This vessel's shuttle bays are large, well equipped, and able to support a large number of active shuttle missions simultaneously. The ship may have twice as many small craft active at any one time as it would normally allow, and it may carry up to scale two small craft. Interesting. Yeah, that'll be interesting. And finally, where is it? And finally, rugged design. The ship is designed with the frontier in mind, with a rugged construction and easy access to critical system that allows repairs to be made easily. Reduce the difficulty of all tasks to repair the ship by one to a minimum of one, which should be interesting with this idea of them being one of the early explorations. So they have to build these ships for to last. Like maybe it's not even a traditional Daedalus class. Maybe it's been upgraded in a few places. So finishing touches. Your ship is almost complete. It just needs a few final touches. Every starship needs a name. There's no universal convention for the naming of ships, often naming them after locations, important historical persons, usually only the person's surname, ancient ships, mythical figures, or even more abstract ideals, virtues, or concepts. In many cases, these vague naming conventions overlap. A ship may be named after an ancient ship that was itself named after a location, for example. This shouldn't cause any issues. If the name should ideally be a single word, more rarely two. So I'm going to take a minute to think about this. So I have actually picked a name. I'm going to call it the USS Horizon. If I can, I am typing terribly. um, so yes, I'm going to call it the Horizon. This is so it's a Daedalus class. It's called the Horizon. So that yeah, and its registry number. This is it's going to be, let's say the NCC is NCC 53. Um um let's say it's a pro. Let's say it's Daedalus class, but it is prototype. It's fairly new. They're experimenting with new ways to build ships that are better for exploration, better for getting out into undiscovered territory. So that's not bad. So we have the Daedalus class USS Horizon, uh, NCC 53. Um, I think we've got it. Hi. Post recording me coming back. Uh, I missed that there actually was a Daedalus class USS Horizon. as mentioned in the records, Cisco had a model of it, apparently. So it is now NCC 173. Uh, my bad. So, that is our character. That is our ship. Captain Shinra of the Daedalus-Class USS Horizon. And the adventures to come. And we will have many more characters. We will have the bridge crew. We will have probably the chef. Like, I know he technically never appeared in Enterprise, but let's have a chef anyway. Right? Um, I think this will be an interesting story of this early Starfleet crew going out there, going visiting those strange new worlds, and finding what is awaiting beyond the next horizon. So, as was once said, we will boldly go where no one has ever gone before. Live long and prosper. Until next time.